Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. Hi Tara.
Nan, how are you?
I'm super excited, doing really well. I've got a topic for us today that is something I've always been fascinated by, and I may be bursting some bubbles because I've done a little bit of research around the science versus the spiritual claims.
I hate that. I hate that. But before we get into that, let's just do a shout out reminder to our Patreon membership. If you're part of our Patreon membership, we have pulled a name and there will be a reading at the end. So you got to listen all the way through to find out if you get a message from Nana and I at the end. We love doing this and they are popping out. And we were given the name before and now we've decided no, it's a surprise. Come and listen and find out if you get a message.
Woohoo! All right, so should we just dive deep into what we're going to talk about?
Let's do it, because I feel if we're going to hurt people's feelings, we should just get it over with.
All right. So when you and I were doing development, because we're about the same age, there was very limited resources. We had the Art Bell radio show, we had Sylvia Brown, we had all sorts of different. That was really cool. If you're watching on YouTube,
What? I'm
we're getting like a thumbs up, like AI something going on there. Anyways, there was limited resources where we could go to learn about spirituality and deep dive into things. And I remember being, and I'm going to date myself here, people, at the library looking through a book, and there was photos of Kirlian photography. Are you familiar with this?
I am absolutely not. Nor am I with what an Art Bell is. What the hell is that?
Oh, Art Bell was this awesome radio host, and he would deep dive into everything paranormal, alien, you name it, anything unexplained. And he would bring people on and talk about it. And it was like this sort of done around midnight radio show. And he's actually had one of his, I guess, pupils that studied under him has actually taken over, and she's got like her own show now. It's super cool. He's since passed, unfortunately.
How is it, Nan, that you know all of this stuff and I'm like sitting here going, I had a tarot deck and a Ouija board?
Well, I think because I grew up on Vancouver Island and it was a very different environment.
Oh, okay, we'll go with that.
Okay. Well, for anyone listening, we'll put some examples in our Instagram of the photography I'm going to talk about. But one of the cool things that I saw in this magazine, it was an image of someone laying on their deathbed, and you physically saw the soul lifting out of the body in the photograph that was captured.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so this sent me down this whole sort of rabbit hole, like, I like to go when I'm investigating stuff, and it was all around Kirlian photography. And so Kirlian photography, just for those, and I'm going to read my notes, guys, disclaimer, so you're not going to see my eyes looking at you if you're watching on YouTube, because I can't remember the things. Tara and I just are not, programmed that way. So Kirlian photography is a technique that captures the corona discharge, a type of electrical glow around objects, dare I say aura. And when exposed to high voltage electric fields, this is how it captures it. So this was discovered accidentally by Samoyan Kirlian. I'm saying his name wrong. I'm sorry, I'm butchering it. In 1939, and the method involves placing an object on a photographic plate connected to a high voltage source, resulting in the images glowing on the outline, aka aura, around the object.
Okay, so this is about auras.
I guess, like, for me, what resonates in my head for the longest time is that image, and it was such a ghostly image of a ghosted image of that person laying in the bed, but imagine them white and transparent leaving the body. And it was at that exact moment of death where the soul was transitioning to the other side. So this is why I went down this whole fascinating rabbit hole about it.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's go.
Okay, so where it got a little sad was science got involved. So the
I think when science gets involved, it's always sad. I'm just saying.
well, and one of the things is I love because my background, I have a BFA in film and video, and I was taking photos before AI. I was, before you could fudge them. Okay.
Y'all were taking photos before AI.
I know, but like even Photoshop or different, software like that. So where you would have like the old style film that you would take to London Drugs and develop, or in my
Oh
case,
my God, you remember those days?
right? Or in my case, in a dark room and you would go and develop stuff. But 1939, we're talking like beginning photography, right? So, the scientific explanation that came out around all of this was that the glowing effects in Kirlian photographs is due to the ionization of air molecules around an object, influenced by factors such as moisture, pressure, grounding, and the object's conductivity. Um, so, for example, living tissue with higher moisture content is going to have more discharge.
Oh, more discharge.
So they yeah, and we're not talking like what is that when people
Plasm?
yeah, ectoplasm, we're not talking
No, when you first started talking about this, I immediately went to like physical mediumship, like that ectoplasm and all that stuff. And I thought that's maybe where you were going with this.
yeah, so I was really sad because, of course, the science had to come along and try to debunk it. Now, for all of our paranormal researcher friends out there, I know that they go on these investigations and they try to debunk, right? So, is it electricity causing this or is it spirit coming in as communication? And you and I are often taken along to be that voice when it is proven that it's spirit. So, I'm gonna actually say I kind of disagree a little bit as far as I think science has proven it to some level, which is gonna lead me into the next topic I'm gonna talk about. I have literal images of orbs that were around people when they're transitioning. And if you zoom in enough, you can see the faces. And when you talk to the person as they're getting to transition and go home, they say, "Oh, I see angels," or "Oh, I see grandma," or and they see people who have transitioned, and you've caught it on photography. So, okay, science, I will give you one, but I still say spirit takes two.
It's been a long day, Nan. It's been a long day. Um, you know, here's the thing. I am not a scientific person. I don't read up on things. That's just not my forte. I know what I believe. I know what spirit shows me, and I'm good with that. And that's why taking me out in a ghost hunt can be like super lame and boring for me because while everyone's running around with these little boxes and tools, and I have some of my dearest friends who are great ghost hunters, going out there, and they're like, "Do you want to come?" And I'm like, "Nope." And I'll tell you why I don't wanna come, because I will go in there and I'll feel the spirit and I'll get the information and I'll be done in 10 minutes, and they wanna spend 10 hours, and I ain't got the time, I need my beauty sleep, babies. So, I'm not that person, but I'm gonna tell you something. I have a really hard time, remember I just brought this up about the ectoplasm.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time about ectoplasm. And there are certain things that I just can't get into in the spiritual world, but I am I'm a believer in orbs, and I'm a believer in them being caught on camera, and I'm belie so I don't know if you've seen, but lots of people when I was doing, my recordings for the spirit scopes that I do at Christmas for people, the yearly spirit scopes, I had orbs that were, like, flying around, and people would, like, send me messages and like, "Do you see the orbs in your videos?" And I'm like, "I do." And they're like, "Is that dust?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that's very interesting because I mean, when you do want to take a certain amount of science into this. You want to sit there and you want to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, that was dust on the lens, but I've seen it when you and I have even been recording the podcast, having orbs flying around behind you. You've seen it on my recordings, and it's cool because we're usually very connected when we're talking to each other, right? It dials spirit's energy up. And so it makes sense that all the orbs come in and start saying, hey, is the telephone on? Is it time to talk?
Someone calling me.
So I'm gonna ask a friend's permission to post one of the most incredible images of orbs that I ever saw when her daughter was transitioning and she was talking to her and telling her everyone that she was seeing. And she took pictures like one after another, and you literally see it go from like 2 or 3 orbs to you almost couldn't even see her in the picture, there was so many orbs, and she transitioned very shortly after, and it was super cool because her and I were zooming in, and I'm like, "Look at the face," like, you could totally see all the faces in it, and it was super, super, I guess, confirming, reaffirming for people who need that visual evidence that what you and I automatically connect to or plug into, look at it's proof. It's proof your loved ones are here, right?
I think it's interesting because in my world, you're going to believe what you're going to believe. And there are, a lot of people who will come at you and they'll show you all these different things about, and this will just go to show you how like off into the etheric I am. When you look at something that's photoshopped, right? And you'll either gonna know, like, no, oh yeah, that was Photoshop, like whatever, or you're gonna not know and be someone who knows really well will point it out to you. I will say this with my full chest. If I see an orb and I know it's an orb, there's nothing you're gonna tell me that's gonna change that. And I've seen orbs that are dusts or little sprinkles or things, that I'm like, oh yeah, that's nothing. And people get so excited. They're like, did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, it's nothing. And then they're like, but but if spirit shows me or I feel something, I'm not gonna denounce that just because someone else from the scientific world has said, "No, no, can't be, can't be." So, I think it comes down to your belief structure. I mean, again, and isn't that with kind of everything, though? Not to go off on a tangent, but isn't that kind of with everything? I will tell you a cute story, Nan, about Paula G and I. God, I should stop using people's names. Paula G and I going to Stansted, Arthur Finlay in England. And she went down to a room, and I followed her into the room, and, everyone kept saying, "You gotta go to this room. It's just full of spirits." And we were in this big mansion. If you go look up Arthur Finlay, guys, in England, it is you think of it as Hogwarts, for us muggles. Anyway, and we went there, and it was really quite fascinating that this room, when we went in there in the dark, it was like a room full of orbs, and all moving. And I actually went to England for Paula to have the experience, not so much for me. I was already doing the work. And so I stepped out so she could have that experience. And she talked about that for like 2 days, seeing all those spirits and how they were coming through.
That is so glorious. Oh, I wanna go to the room.
It was cool. It was cool for real. I don't know about the rest of the experience for me, but it was cool. We had weird things happen though.
That's one of the reasons I think I would love for you and I to go to Mount Shasta together because there's said to be all sorts of really cool orbs and energies that you can tap into. Um, and I'm a firm believer in it. And I know that science is always going to come in and debunk it. Like they're going to say orbs are caused by light reflecting and dust particles and this and that. But I've literally watched you when we've been doing a podcast and something will come across the screen in behind your head and then shoot up, or it'll like a 90-degree angle is not a dust or a light reflection, friends.
Or hover.
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh, look, I don't know who it is, but hey." And they're hovering because they're trying to get your attention, right? They're trying to get your attention. And the cool thing for you and I is that we don't need orbs. They're just super cool for us to see them, but we don't need them. But for other people, they're very important for confirmation, as you said, for affirmations.
Yeah.
Very important.
Definitely. And I mean, like, taking that one step further, when you look at some of these beautiful photos from the 1900s and you have a family who's maybe lost a child and the photo was taken and there's a ghost image of the child sitting on the grass. They didn't have the capability. I mean, some of them might have to ghost in an image of a human. So I find those older photographs very fascinating as well, where they'll catch like a lady on the stairs in the background or someone in the window, because I just really feel that these anomalies are something that it offers that physical proof. It offers that visual proof for what you and I see. Like I've always said in my readings to people, I wish one day there would be technology I could put here and I could project what I'm seeing so you could see it.
That would be cool. That would be really, really cool. Talking about those old, like, Victorian pictures, okay, I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but I was having none of it. How about those pictures where they take the dead people and they dress them back up and they sit them down for family portraits? Can we just have a moment with this, please?
That's
Ah!
That is so terrifying to me, and it's no disrespect to the culture that does it. I understand we all have rituals. My husband is Irish. Apparently, you prop a dead person in the corner, and you have a party for a few days. But I honestly, it's a bit eerie.
I find it hard to look at those pictures because immediately no, I'm like, okay, okay. But I mean, I read all about why they did it. They wanted the last, moments and all those things. Can you imagine if we did that today? I, I guess so viewing can be something a little bit similar to that. We're not propping them up, but I won't. Yeah, no, no.
No, we don't. We lay them down. We don't prop them up.
Can you imagine? I don't even wanna go there. I don't even wanna go there. That would scare the living bejesus out of me.
Just like
And I'm not afraid. I talk to dead people all the time, but everyone's sitting right there with you, like, in no, give me their spirit any day. You can have their body.
we just lost 12 listeners.
That's okay.
We got one left. We got one left.
Oh god, give us some credit, girlfriend.
But that was it. I just wanted to really tap in quickly on, just some of that because we have a dear friend of ours, Darren, who does chakra photography, and it's really similar. I'm imagining that there is a lot around the energy that he's capturing in behind, right?
And there's chakra cameras and aura cameras and all those things, and they've been out for a while now, like, for quite some time. So there's different ways to capture, pictures, and the cool thing about Darren, which I think is really important to kinda state, is that this is not something, there's no trickery here. It's just a straight up he knows how to maneuver something, and then he just knows how to set it up. So it's so authentic in the picture. It's not like he's like, "Okay, hold a purple sign over your head so that says crown chakra." You know what I mean? Like, it legitimately is. And those things are super cool, but I wanna point something else out too. Energy begets energy. So, energetically, when you are looking at something like an orb, you'll know. You'll just know because you believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you had more. Um, but it's true. It's absolutely true, and I feel like it's sort of the same, like, when I've gone on sort of different ghost hunts and stuff like that, and I'm like, "I know someone's staying there, and I just really wanna catch it on the camera." At the end of the day, I see them. I know the story. I know the whole background. I've had a conversation with them. Camera doesn't always participate, but it is cool when you see them.
I will say this, I don't think I've ever captured an orb. I don't think they're around me all the time, but that's because I'm a medium. But I don't think I've ever captured an orb in a picture. I've captured a nature spirit though.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, we should put that on the Instagram.
We could, but I'm also gonna put you did you so did you see that opa tree? Did you see the spirit face in that? I will put that on
Yeah,
Instagram.
that is super cool. So there's an area where Tara has run a retreat, and a friend of ours is coming who's a shaman, and Tara sent pictures, and the tree literally has a face. I love, love, love finding faces in trees.
Yep, me too. That's and again, so we're talking about being able to see things just to kind of get off a little bit off orbs and things like that. But I have a really good friend, Bruce, who for years and years, as long as I've known him, takes pictures of nature spirits. So he goes and he finds them in like we did in Sedona with the eagle. Remember at the Holy Cross Cathedral, wherever we were up in that grid. Uh, he finds those in everything. He can just suss them out. It
That
is amazing.
that is so cool. He needs to do a book or something because there's just like a whole thing around that.
Absolutely. And somewhere in some of my files, I have all the pictures he let me keep. I'm pretty sure I can't post them though. He was very, very clear. These are his property, but I have a whole bunch of pictures. Come over one day. We'll drink wine and we'll look at pictures of nature spirits.
Very cool. It's a date. Well, that is all for me, Tara. I just wanted to sort of plant a seed for our listeners and say, hey, go take some deep dives into like old school photography with spirits. Try to find some cool orb images. We'll post some pictures of the Kirlian image that I'm talking about that is just the coolest image. And that's it. Happy hunting for images.
Okay. I am gonna say to you, do not go look up the Victorian dead people. Just don't do it. It's just stuff nightmares are made out of. Okay, let's go to Jerry. I think Jerry needs to get a message, and I'm gonna tap in first this time, Nan, if you don't mind, please.
Non
This is for Jerry, Jerry, Gerri. Jerry. Tier 1, welcome to our space, girlfriend. Here's what I'm getting for you. When I'm tapping into spirit, Jerry, I'm feeling a younger man coming through for you, please. I feel as though this would be someone that would be a relative to you, but young. So like a young brother, maybe more like a son, if you will, please. And I feel like when he's coming through, I feel like there's this great sense of peace within his heart. So he would have been someone that had a lot of vitality to him, please. I feel like he was someone that was already stepped into having life experience. So I feel like he had hard work behind him, please. I also want to say he had a really nice smile. I feel like I should be smiling this whole time. And when I'm connecting to him, please, and yes, thank you. I do feel he's calling you mom. So this would be mom energy. Well, it wouldn't be mom energy. It'd be son energy calling for his mom. And he's talking about you painting up a storm, he says. And he's showing me like this paintbrush, and it's just going in the air like crazy. And he's saying, paint away, paint away. He feels this is some kind of therapy for you, if you will, please, Jerry. And when he's connecting with this, please, he's telling me that you're telling a story that you don't even realize yet. You're telling a story you don't realize. And he says that he loves you and he loves the work that you're doing, and that he's not going to apologize for not being there. He says things happen. That's exactly, sorry, Jerry, that's what he said to me. Things happen. And he says, but he's still walking beside you and he sees the beautiful strokes that you're doing. And he says, you should be proud of yourself because he's proud of you and he loves you. And I'm going to leave that with you.
That is a beautiful message. For you, Jerry, what I've done is I've pulled a card and I've pulled hedgehog. And hedgehog spirit animal is coming in right now around a whole bunch of energy about your inner world, your inner curiosity, and the different dynamic between going into protection mode, but being vulnerable. So when you think of hedgehogs, they tend to roll into a little ball when they need to protect themselves, and their outer body is surrounded by spine and prickles. And this is something where spirit is coming in and saying, it's okay to not go into that ball. It's okay to expose that tiny, soft tummy, vulnerable part of you like a hedgehog has, and understand that you can show that beautiful, gentle nature side to people and have a vulnerability and still welcome lots of new experiences and people and fun things into your world. Don't always be in protection mode. And keep that curiosity. So explore. What is there something new that you can deep dive into? They're very much about using their nose and going through the gardens and sniffing things out that are good for them. And so this is Hedgehog coming in right now and saying, hey, it's time to explore and have some fun and be a little vulnerable. So I'm going to leave that with Jerry.
I love that. So, friends, make sure you check out our Patreon. We have so much to offer in there, from intuitive development to channeled readings to some Q&A time with Nan and I, getting the podcast early starting in June, shout outs like this. Make sure you go to our Instagram. Love us on Instagram, baby. Make sure your friends are loving us. Pop your birth month in there so that you can get picked to get a reading in our spirit scopes. We do that. The first podcast of every month is our spirit scope, so you could be in there. And of course, just come and check us out all together. It's Nancy Christine Brady, and it's Spirit Essence by Tara Diana. You're gonna want to be a part of this.
I love that. So until next time, thanks for listening, and make sure you come back and listen to the next episode. Bye,
And great
everyone.
questions. Bye. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.